Happy Halloween! First mission of the day is to make 50 drawings on one page. This is my homework for Vim Live. I think it was Natalie who said that she had done 50 drawings on one page. So I'm going to try that as my do 50 things homework. My other 50 things homework is to make 50 field recordings with my audio mic. So that will, I guess, start after. Maybe that'll start tomorrow. So let me show you the setup. The 50 things drawing setup. We have our bendy tripod. We have our 3 hooks to hold it to the ceiling. We have our selfie stick. We have our camera. We have our viewport here. And we have our tensioning shoelace plus 2 thumbtacks into the ceiling to keep it from leaning this way. So let's do this. Ooh, this is going to be a good transition. Whoosh. Okay. This is a drawing challenge. So yeah, there are a few rules. The first rule is that on the first side of the page, we're going to do 25. Side note, I thought I was going to tape them all off, but it turns out that's super annoying, and I didn't want to heat the tape off so it didn't tear, so I just gave up. First side of the page, I'm going to make 50 pencil drawings, and then ink over them after the pencil. And each one of these drawings is just like some object in my studio. First one was a water bottle, and then there was a pen that I like to write with, my scissors. Now I'm doing a printer cartridge. And you'll see here, mumble, that I'm going back over it just with a ultra fine Sharpie. This is the set of rules for the first 25 images, and then I have a different set of rules for the second 25 images. And as we go, I'll mention what each of the things is, but I'm also gonna talk more about why I'm doing this. Current one is a selfie stick phone clamp thing. That thing. And now I'm gonna draw it from another angle. So the Make 50 Things challenge was something that we did back at LVR, and Vi just recently made 50 FizzBuzz programs in Python, which is why we were talking about this in the Vim live stream, the private live stream for our Patreon subscribers yesterday. So this originated with one of our collaborators at LVR, Evelyn Eastman. And now I think that was a roll of tape. And now I'm going to do one of my camera batteries. So Evelyn learned this, I think in one of her art school somethings, a workshop, a class, I'm not really sure. But the challenge was to, draw 50 things or make 50 of a particular kind of thing. And we sort of expanded that at LVR to I made 50 beds in virtual reality. And that became like a whole piece, and it became like about how you use your body in virtual reality spaces and stuff like that. Let's see, now I'm drawing part of a boot. I just drew some Sharpies, and now I'm going to draw this pair of pliers. And the great thing about the Make 50 Things challenge, a sponge, because who doesn't want to draw a sponge? This was so hard. Like on the one hand, it's just like a few lines, and on the other hand, like getting all of the little things exactly right is impossible. So I ended up just making it look interesting instead of making it look like a sponge. But anyways, one of the great things about this challenge is that it really forces you to expand your assumptions. So when I was making things in virtual reality and trying to make 50 of them, the goal of that was to learn the interface. What is this? So I'm now drawing the foot of these antique glass cups that I got from my mom, I think. I have a few of them. I use them just to like hold stuff, but they're like fancy antique glass. I'm sure that some collector would think it was horrible that I was holding push pins in them. But anyways, oh yeah, I did a push pin earlier. Now I'm doing a light bulb. So yeah, like doing the 50 things really helps expand your assumptions about drawing. Now I'm doing a nail. And your assumptions about making things, or what you think you can make, or what you think fits in this category. This is one of my paint pots. It's actually like an old yogurt container, I believe. It's just like a little glass container that I have been using, and it is dirty AF. And that was one of the nice things about drawing it, was that most of the drawing was just like shading with pencil. And this is also a jam jar, also used for paint and glue and stuff. I'll later, I think next, be doing the lid to this jar. So as you sort of push yourself to make more things in the same category, and you sort of get bored and you get irritated and you hate what you're making and all those things that happen when you engage in one of these sort of challenge things, is that you start to discover things about the tools you're using or about the system that you're using. So, for example, I don't draw like this, really. This is a rock that I have in my collection. I don't draw things very often. I don't ink my drawings from pencil. And so the things I was learning about were the relationship between the shading and the lines and all those things, but also just like, this is like an expandable plastic cup. I think I got it at the dollar store. I also use it for paint and glue. I was more, there's the HoloLens. I was more learning about like, what are all these weird little objects that I have in my studio? Because my work is really made out of the environment of materials that I'm in. So it was interesting to sort of do this cataloging. This is a rock that I loved because it was the same size and feel and like weight as my phone, so I could just hold it instead of my phone. And this is a tripod foot for a camera. And I'll be going on to the back. So this is 25 images done, and then I'll go to the back and we'll talk about the new set of rules. So less learning about drawing and more learning about like what the heck is in my studio and what are all this like sort of collection collage system of images and materials that I have around me, and thinking through like different ways that I could use them and using the drawings to think about that. Okay, so now we're on the back. So I've switched materials. I'm still using pencil, but I'm no longer inking the drawings in the same way. I'm using colored markers and crayon. And I think I use a China marker. Yeah, that black line is a China marker. I made 25 drawings on the backside. Each of them is in color. And each of them was inspired by the ink that bled through from the previous image. So I purposefully used paper that bleeds through, and the color doesn't bleed back through onto the other side, but the ink did bleed through onto this side. Basically, giving myself inspiration from the first 25 into the second 25. And this might be slightly rule breaking, like, yes, maybe this isn't exactly, 50 of exactly the same things, but they are the same size. Each one of them is 2 by 1.5 inches. They're all on the same piece of paper, and they're all from the materials around me. So the first half was drawing materials around me, and the second half is sort of just like using a broader range of the materials that I have just at my desk. One of the things I learned doing this side of the paper comes a little bit later on, but it's the sort of incorporating pencil, like hard, probably I think it was an H2 pencil, hard pencil marks and crayon together is really interesting because I use really crappy crayons. I do have a set of like nicer crayons, but I actually just like the vibrancy of just straight Crayola wax. So I was practicing like overlaying the ink into patterns from the markers, blending the colors, making different textures. And then here I started incorporating like pencil and the marker and then pencil more. And the pencil and the crayon start to get really interesting. So yeah, Evelyn Eastman taught us this, and I've done this practice a few times, but I haven't done it in a while. So it's really interesting to do it here. This drawing I really, really hated. I hated this one. I don't know why exactly, but I just thought it was stupid. One of my favorite ones is actually coming up. Is it this one? No. Okay, that was the back of the, oh no, the drawings are too low down. Oh, there, I fixed it. Good. The back of the nail was pretty good. Oh yeah, here it is. This one was my favorite. So I made these like very hard, very angular, sort of scratchy lines with the pencil, and then went over it with crayon and shading and China marker and all these things, to give it a more sort of like papery, maybe like less precision and more, crayon has this sort of like melty quality. So yeah, I really loved going through all this. It was a fun, like, I guess it took me a few hours, maybe 2 hours to finish. Lowering the desk so you can see all the draws. So yeah, I would recommend doing this again with just like other techniques, maybe doing all 50 in one style, maybe, having, the option to switch styles as you switch other sides of the paper. But I really love how each item in the world, like the light bulb or the tack or the camera battery, they each get to have this sort of artistic reflection on the other side. Whereas in this, like, these are artistic images, they're drawings, but on the other side they sort of explode into color that I really loved. And they, because the other side are abstract and they're not literal, the colored side, they give sort of hidden meaning to all the images, hidden sparks or spirits or something, which I really loved. So yeah, that was my art adventure today. 50 drawings on one page. So yeah, bye self.